Hey, what's up, YouTube gun people? I want to spend some time in the next few videos maybe responding to messages I've got from people. I got a message from a viewer asking me about the choice between an MEP pistol and a Glock 17. I don't have a Glock 17s. I'm a Glock fan. My 9mm Glocks are a 26 and a 34. But size-wise, Glock 22 is the same size, it's just in 40 caliber, same size as Glock 17. So I'll use the Glock 17 for comparison, and I'll give you my take on the two pistols. First and foremost, these videos usually create a shitstorm. People's feelings get hurt. So I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or anything. You can see here they are both beautiful pistols. Okay, there's no question about it. Reliability wise, I've shot my Glock 34 a lot. I've shot my Glock 26 a lot. I've shot this 22 a lot. I've shot that M&P a lot. They're all really super reliable, really nice pistols. On the Glock platforms, for the most part, as well as the M&P platforms, I've had no issues feeding these guns all kinds of ammo. Build quality is very, very similar. It really comes down to personal preference. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. It's just what you like. I don't think there's a clear winner in terms of which one's best. Personally, for competition purposes, I prefer the Glock. I'm not sure why. I have a hard time saying why, but I just do. Let's look at the Glock first. These firearms have been safety checked. There's nothing in the magazine. I'm gonna rack back the slide. There's nothing in the chamber. I put the slide forward, hammer down, firearm safe. This is a Generation 2 Glock 22, and actually for reasons that I carry this gun a lot. It's got some holster wear on it. You can see here there's roll marks actually for Detroit Police Department. This is actually a gun that was sold through the Detroit Police Department. So brand new, I bought this. You know, police departments buy lots of guns. Sometimes they don't use them, but they have to refresh their inventory. So every 15 years ago, they'll sell all their guns off, buy new guns. Some of them have never been fired. This one was never fired. It was brand new in the box. 15-year-old Glock 22. So when I got it, it was pretty cool because I wound up having a brand new Glock 22. I had, because I'm going to carry it, night sights put on it. These are Trigicon's night sights. I don't know, well, you can see it there. I had a ghost connector I put in here and an extended slide release. This gun will probably wind up morphing into a limited gun for USPSA at some point, but not just yet. I carry it. It carries very well. Yeah, it's a full-size Glock 22. I carry this thing. If you have the right holster, right belt, no problem. Okay, totally concealable. It's been extremely reliable. It's a pleasure to shoot. I really like this issue, this low bore axis. Pretty much there's not much above your hand when this thing's firing, so that when that recoil comes back, it's easier to control for me. Great guns. The machining, workmanship on these are beautiful. Glock stands behind their products very, very well. If you have a problem, they'll take care of them. Their service, I think, is fantastic. Glock. So if you like Glocks, you like the looks of them, that's great. The M&P pistol I also really, really like, to the point where I would never sell it. The ergonomics on this, some people think they're a little bit better than the Glock. The Glock has that little bit of a funky grip angle. This gun's also been safety checked. Magazine, there's nothing in the chamber. We'll just lock it back, take a look in there. Trigger forward. This has sort of the same idea. Let's just go through this real quick from the point of view of the Glock. The only safety on this Glock is built into this trigger system, so this is something you got to think about. There's no external safeties on it. The safety is really is the only safety mechanism. Unless I have a good grip on that trigger and I'm pushing in that middle part, right? I can't depress the trigger, right? The physical block. Then there's a series of mechanisms inside to prevent the striker from going forward. These are both striker fired firearms unless you fully depress the trigger. Okay. One thing about Glock pistols, if this matters to you, so I'm holding that trigger back now. I will rack it. Of course I have a magazine in there, it's empty, but it has an audible reset. Hear that click? That's it. That's the gun resetting, right? Then from that point you can fire the pistol. The MEP safety is sort of similar, except it's jointed. Okay, there isn't that middle blade. The trigger's jointed, and that's how that physical block works. So you have to be depressing the trigger to pull it back. If I try to just push on the top part, it won't fire. I mean, it won't go back because it's physically obstructed. Okay, but if I actuate the trigger and it moves back, see it's hinged there. That's how I remove that physical block that's similar to the Glock, and then I can fire the pistol. Now, there's no external safety on the MEP, although they make some with an external safety on them. They also make some with a magazine disconnect if those are features that you'd be interested in. I'm not interested in an external safety for my own personal reasons. I don't think you need them. Controversial as that might sound. This does not have a very audible reset, so let's drop the magazine in this one. Let's rack it back. We fire it. Okay, now we'll rack it back again. Slightly, you can barely hear it. Okay, not as audible and as pronounced. This gun does have a loaded chamber indicator on it, so you can look down here, see if there's a round in the chamber. On the Glock, the only thing that tells you whether or not there's a round in the chamber is that the on some models there's a little bump on the extractor. On this Gen 2 there is not. So if that extractor is protruding a little bit, you know there's a round in the chamber. It's not very pronounced. All right. They're both striker fire. To take down these weapons, they're fairly similar, except Glock truly needs no tools. The MEP, it's recommended that you need a tool. The Glock, to take it down, you have to depress the trigger. Okay, so that could be a problem. That's a potential safety issue. If you're not really good with gun handling skills and paying attention to safety, the fact that you have to pull the trigger to disassemble the firearm really turns some people off. Then you have to move, while moving back the slide, pull down these tabs on either side. There's one here and one on the other side here. Pull them down, and that slide will move forward and just come right off. Okay, and this isn't going to turn into a disassembly video, but I'll just show you the internals real quick. They're similar on both pistols. Right? To put it together, you just line up the slide and the frame, just rack it back. Gun's operational. Super simple. The MEP is a little bit different. Okay, now I know that people will argue with me, but technically, from the manufacturer's point of view, they want you to take this pistol down. You're going to rack it back and lock back the slide. Right? So here's my slide. I'm going to pull it back and rack it back. Okay, lock it back. Right? Now, I have to then, down in the chamber, move the sear down. There's a tool on the bottom here, so I can twist this off. Twist this piece like so, and then I can pull this out. And it's this punch, right? With this punch, I can look down here. You can't see it on camera, but there's a sear that I gotta flip down. Okay? Now you can see it flip down. See that thing? This one right here. It's very hard to see this, but behind the extractor, you got to flip it down. Take my word for it. Then what you do is you got to turn down the takedown lever and then release the slide here. No need, just release the slide. No need to pull the trigger whatsoever, and it comes apart, right? So technically you need a tool, or to avoid the problem that you got to pull a trigger. You don't have to pull a trigger if you use that tool, right? You disconnect this here. This trigger also holds your back strap in place. All right. To put it back together, you just reverse the steps. So let's just do that. Again, the internals look pretty similar for both pistols. Not much difference. Look at, pretty similar, right? We'll just mate the way we put it back together. We made it up. We pull the slide back till it locks. Whoops. Walk back the slide. This will come forward. Now you got to push that sear down. You can just push it down with your finger, okay? Or the next time you put a magazine in it, it will actually push the sear up for you, okay? And then this gun is operational. That's one big difference, breaking them down. Now, I'll show you a trick with this. It's not much of a trick. You can also rack back the slide, right? Bring the takedown lever down, right? Pull it. Oops, went back up. Pull the trigger, and then if you have the trigger pulled the whole time, oops, you can just, if you pull the trigger, you can basically do it like a Glock, all right? I'm just saying that it is not recommended by the manufacturer to do it that way. It's just not, because they don't want you pulling the trigger in the event that the chamber was loaded. So whether or not you go with the Glock or you go with the M&P, I think it's up to you. M&Ps, I think, cosmetically are really nice. They have these fish scale serrations on the back of the slide. They're super grippy. I like them. They're actually pretty cool. You can see them here, right? Interchangeable back straps. On the newer Glocks, the Gen 4, they have interchangeable back straps, so not much of an issue. Slightly different look of the firearm. And you probably are going to have to get some trigger work done on this, or get an apex as well. So for the Glock and the M&P, if we talk about triggers, I think out of the box, in my state, you can't get new Glocks, so it's not a fair comparison. I would say out of the box, though, even in states that don't have the stupid 10-pound trigger rule, I think the advantage right out of the box goes for the Glock, unless you get the M&P Pro, then it goes to the M&P Pro. You can improve both triggers either by bringing them to a gunsmith. It should cost you around $80, and they'll be really, really nice. I can say right now this M&P trigger is sweet, okay? Probably nicer than this Glock. Or you can buy an Apex trigger kit for around $120 or so and get a very similar feel. And you can do that. You can get an Apex for the Glock. You can get a Ghost connector for the Glock. Lots of parts for the Glock. So what I'm saying is you can make similar changes for the triggers, and I think the stock trigger is just going to be what you like. Some people have problems with the Glock triggers. They can be a little bit squishy until you get used to them. All right. So those are the differences. My personal preference is the Glock. Although I bought this M&P, and I'm not sorry I did. I'm really happy with it, and I enjoy shooting it. All right. I'm comparing a Gen 2, which is older. The newer gens, either a 3 or 4, have finger grooves here. They have more texturing in general on the pistol, but Glocks, the texturing, except on the Gen 4s, typically requires some kind of skateboard tape or something like that to really, if you want a slightly better grip. It doesn't really require it, but a lot of people tend to use it. I don't on the Glock, on this particular Glock, because it's a carry piece. If you put like sandpaper tape or skateboard tape on it, it tends to wear away your clothes. Okay, it'll sand away your clothes. All right, that's pretty much all I got. It's kind of a harebrained video, but these are both fine firearms. I don't think you can go wrong with either one.